The Jeep Gladiator has undoubtedly captured the hearts of many Americans thanks to its effortless charm and soul, coupled with a very solid bit of practicality. Last year, Jeep decided to redesign the Gladiator and made it all the more appealing by introducing a brand new interior and some much-needed styling improvements. However, there were a few things that Jeep missed out on, which will be coming with the upcoming 2025 model year. In today's video, we've coupled the 6 reasons why you should wait for the 2025 Jeep Gladiator. Number 6. A brand new engine. One of the biggest downfalls of the Gladiator ever since it was first released was undoubtedly its powertrain. If you were to buy a Gladiator, you'd be limited to only one choice, which is the Pentastar V6 engine, which was neither powerful nor torquey enough for most people. Thankfully, the 2025 Gladiator will bring with it the long-awaited change in the power plant department, and now we finally bid farewell to the outdated 3.6 V6. In its place will now come the long-anticipated 3-liter Hurricane inline-6 engine. This powerhouse of a unit has an inline configuration, allowing the Gladiator a generally smoother experience. Not to mention that since it'll be twin turbocharged, it'll have both torque and horsepower at its utmost disposal. We're talking about figures that go upwards of 300 horsepower. The low-output version is expected to push out somewhere around 350 horsepower, whereas the more powerful version will equal that of the Ram 1500 with a whopping 420 horsepower under the hood, making the Gladiator even more powerful than the Ranger Raptor. Apart from the 3.0, the Gladiator will now also come with a 2-liter Turbo 4 engine that it'll borrow from the Wrangler. This will be the base power plant, pushing out some odd 270 horsepower at around 300 pound-feet of torque. However, these aren't the only powertrain additions to the Gladiator range, as the next entry in our list might be even more important than the introduction of these 2 new engines. Number 5. The hybrid is finally here. One of the most anticipated drivetrains of the Jeep Gladiator ever since it was released was the hybrid drivetrain. What confused many was the fact that the Gladiator's SUV cousin, the Wrangler, actually had a plug-in version since 2021. Yet Jeep decided not to grace us with this powertrain for nigh on 3 years. Thankfully, the 2025 version will finally offer us the long-anticipated powertrain, meaning that you'll now finally be able to drive a stylish, unique, and properly capable off-road pickup truck quite frugally. The MPG figures of the electrified Jeep Gladiator are expected to be around 45 mpge, only 4 mpge less than the Wrangler, making this easily the most economical pickup truck both in its segment and on the market entirely. Furthermore, the power figures will also be more than impressive, as the Jeep Gladiator will have 380 horsepower at its disposal, making it nearly as powerful as the Ford Ranger Raptor. Isn't that something? Oh, and if that wasn't enough, you'll also have all-electric autonomy of over 25 miles and a hybrid autonomy of over 300 miles, making the Jeep Gladiator the ideal pickup truck for both going off-road as well as regular city commutes. That said, considering the change of powertrains as well as the incentive towards electrification, you wouldn't be at fault for thinking that the Gladiator would have lost some of its torquey oomph. Well, the next entry on our list will dissuade those concerns entirely. Number 4. The Gladiator finally has a competitive towing capacity. Let's be honest, the Jeep Gladiator was never actually a good towing truck, as the Pentastar V6 was rather a gutless engine from the get-go. Now, it wasn't bad per se, as it could tow up to 7,700 pounds, however, it wasn't exactly happy at doing so. Most versions of the truck had considerably lower towing capacity, as the 7,700 towing capacity was reserved exclusively for the maximum tow package. Well, now with the inclusion of the hybrid and the Hurricane inline-6 engine, these specs are going to change entirely. You see, with the addition of the new Hurricane engine, we'll be seeing a massive increase in the Gladiator's torque figures. The earlier 260 pound-feet of torque, which was the Pentastar's maximum, has increased to a whopping 470 pound-feet, which is almost double. As a result, you could now expect the 420 horsepower Gladiator to tow up to 8,500 pounds, and even that will be limited, making the engine quite unburdened. The less powerful version will have a maximum towing capacity of around 8,000 pounds, which once again is pretty impressive. Finally, the 2-liter Turbo 4 will more or less retain the same maximum towing capacity as the Pentastar, with only minor changes to be expected there. However, the most interesting powertrain, which is the new plug-in hybrid version, will also be quite impressive in terms of towing capacity. Thanks to its electrified powertrain, which helps the 2-liter i4 engine, the Gladiator plug-in hybrid will have torque figures of 470 pound-feet, and this more or less equals it to the Hurricane engine. However, granted, due to its increased weight and a more complex system overall, the hybrid won't be as tow-happy as the Hurricane-powered version. Still, it'll be good for 7,700 pounds at least, which is the same as the max tow pack now. Number 3. Improved quality and quality control. The Jeep Gladiator suffered massively from the well-known Chrysler build quality. On the pre-facelift models, everything had been made to a subpar standard with horrendous fitting, lackluster material quality, and a general problem with longevity, as these trucks were known for rapid wear and tear on the outside and inside. While the 2024 facelift managed to sort out most of these issues, they were still present in some measures, especially in the quality control department. For example, there were cases of the seats showing premature wear, as well as a general lack of detail when it comes to assembling the parts, both on the inside and the outside. Well, Jeep has promised us that the 2025 model year will fix this because Jeep has made it imperative to increase the build quality of their vehicles all throughout the range. The incentive behind this is their recurring wish conquering the world and not just the American market, and to do so, they'll have to improve the quality of their products. Honestly, good riddance. It's finally time that we Americans benefit from the Europeans for once. We've done enough favors for them already. Jokes aside, this will definitely be a welcome improvement to the truck. Sure, it might not be a deal breaker to you, however, you have to admit that it is nice to see that Jeep is finally trying to satisfy its customers. Number 2. Fantastic off-road capabilities. Not all parts of the Jeep Gladiator are bad, as it has been widely regarded as the best off-roader in its class. Well, we're glad to announce that there will be no changes in this department for the 2025 model year, as Jeep recognized that lowering its off-road capabilities would only steer the Gladiator away from its most numerous fan base. As a result, you could expect the same trim levels to remain when it comes down to the off-road version, such as the Rubicon, Mojave, and the X version to both trims. That said, you should also expect a few other trim levels, considering the fact that the hybrid will now take up quite a large piece of the pie of the Gladiator sales figures. These, if we're orientating ourselves by the Wrangler's lineup, will mostly be just copy-pasted from the original range, which means that you should expect more or less the same performance off-road for the hybrid. Sure, the increased weight will certainly lower the overall capabilities a bit, however, we bet that it'll still be able to run circles around its competition, at least when it comes down to the off-road experience. Oh, but we know what you're thinking. The last thing the Gladiator needed was added off-road readiness. Jeep should have improved its on-road performance. Funny of you to think that, because the final entry of our list covers just that. Number 1. Improved on-road performance. Well, it seems like Jeep has finally done it. They've made the perfect, omnipotent, all-capable vehicle. Think of it. The Gladiator now has up to 420 horsepower. It's phenomenal off-road and has incredible utilitarian value, and it looks striking. And now, to top it all off, Jeep has made it enjoyable on the road too. Well, technically, that is. We wouldn't go that far as to call the Gladiator enjoyable, however, it is most certainly much less nauseating and much more tolerable to drive on the road. You see, to achieve this, Jeep decided to increase the chassis structural rigidity by improving the suspension and making it better connected to the body of the pickup truck. As a result, the truck has improved on-road dynamics without actually losing its off-road character. Furthermore, Jeep has also improved the steering of the truck, as now the Jeep Gladiator has a sharper, more direct, and more communicative steering wheel, more than it used to have before. This is because Jeep decided to swap out the old steering column for a new and better one. Sure, you shouldn't expect it to be a full-on Lamborghini, however, it's far from the Jello-like riding truck that it used to be. All in all, quite a good upgrade for one of America's most underrated midsize pickup trucks. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.